Yes, indeed, pizza, because I think any other takeout when you're ordering home is blasphemy. Unfortunately, they had a minimum order cost, which I don't know. I feel like if I ordered somewhere else, I could just pay the same price for the for the delivery itself, right? So this is free delivery, but with a minimum price. So I had to order the pizza, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll pay the tip. Hi, by the way. I'll pay the tip. I'll toss that on there. I will put some extra onion on my pizza. The door of the door of nightmares. Yes, this has been our gateway to hell. So I'll toss some onion on there. I will actually order some tip or throw some tip onto that order as well, and that didn't count into the tip, and the packaging actually didn't count into the price of the order. So I was like, what fuck? So I ordered another boomer juice. Yeah, I ordered an overpriced energy drink. Anyway, we are continuing with this until we get a call that pizza is here. Last time they were pretty quick. We'll see about this time, and mainly if it's gonna be edible, because the last one wasn't all that great. Anyway, resume game.
All of his co-workers were gone.
No, why did I think we would come to the working telephone?
How wonderful.
Oh my god, hallway. Look at this. Blue room hallway, blue room hallway. What is this?
How long was I sitting there? All of his co-workers were gone.
Yeah, I guess so. Someone would have a field day training on this.
All of his co-workers.
And I'm complaining, right? That's just unfair.
The meeting room.
There we go. Let's speed run it though. Let's do the speed run.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
Who's got the stopwatch ready? I don't know. What are the strats here? What can I skip?
Either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Am I good? Am I doing good time? I know you haven't been
Here's the door.
measuring
Just go.
since the yeah the rails. I'll try to do that actually. I'm sure they're cutting corners much more efficiently than I am.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I wanted to showcase a speedrun anyway. I'm pretty sure I will fall, but it's fine. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh no! Oh, this wasn't. Oh, I have to press it actually.
Rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Ugh.
What horrible
We made it onto the railing.
this place
Ugh.
hold, Stanley thought to
Let's
himself.
go!
He had
Fuck!
the strength
I'm stuck.
to find out. Now the monitors jumped.
Do we drop here as
Their
well
true
onto the
nature
railing?
revealed.
Ooh!
Each bore the number
Fuck!
of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so
Well,
many
it's over.
individuals.
The dream is over.
All of his co-workers. Stanley had never. All of his co-workers. his co-workers were good.
Come on.
All of his co-workers.
I hate this quote. Did you remember it?
Even now, Stanley's.
Maybe I'll live stream it.
All of his co-workers.
Okay.
A soft wind.
Oh my god. I didn't hear him speak, so I was excited.
All of his co-workers.
I feel like I'm gonna break it with one of these
All of
resets.
his co-workers.
Like I'm gonna crash it or something. We're gonna run into a terrible
All of
error.
his co-workers.
Stop.
All of his co-workers.
Did I click the right button? I guess so.
Just a step through the. Even now, Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. All of his co-workers. All of his co-workers were gone.
That's an interesting theory. Do you think it's just? Don't you think it's just like some kind of? Oh, phone call.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
That's
We are
cardboard
confirming your
boxes.
shipment of 1,327 cardboard
just
boxes
boxes.
to your place of work.
I don't actually want those. Hopefully this cancels the order. Okay, cool. Oh!
Hi, Stanley.
No!
I wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar.
Yeah, how does dish soap actually... did you mention dish soap in the recipe?
All of his co-workers.
That is a vital ingredient.
All of his co-workers. Stanley decided to. A soft wind blew.
Okay, well that's boring. That's a boring answer.
All of his co-workers. How long was I sitting? Stanley
This is how I speedrun the game. This is 3 phone call speedrun. I'm
All of
having
his
terrible
co-workers
luck.
How long was I? All of his co. How long was I?
I know it's quite mind-numbing,
The
yeah.
meeting room.
I apologize. It's not my fault. It's my game's fault. I have some bad
All
seed.
of his co-workers.
Silence, wench. Oh! Phone call. I'm almost reset it.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a
Can you
few
believe
things I
this?
need you to pick up
Can you
on your
believe
way
this? Are there any other... yes, you can. Oh, another phone call. Back to back.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness
It's cardboard.
Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,320.
Damn it.
Even now, Stanley's office was...
So any other Easter eggs that I could go for in the meantime, like just like to refresh our
All of his co-workers were gone. What could... How long was I... All of his co-workers...
This is insane.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain.
It's interesting he says this when there's actually no
All of
rain.
his co-workers were gone.
I guess he talks about soft rain. When the rain actually pours, it's quite... there's another one that's kind of just like the phone call. Reset, go, reset, go, reset, go. But get this first. Well, I don't know, but the phone call is on the way, right? So we can reset, go to the Easter egg. And when we hear the phone call, we just pick it up.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I'd say that's a more efficient thing.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I don't know, unless we already did it, which is also a possibility earlier on the stream.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered. Already this was...
They're already calling? The pizza is already here? Hold on. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Well, and sorry about me possibly eating. Oh my god, it's actually moist here already. Let me see the bottom of the box. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I should bring a tray. Either way, what does the second room, not the one with the phone?
All of his co-workers would
You mean this
Stanley decided
window?
to go to the meeting room.
This one?
Perhaps he had
Oh, there he
something
is. You mean this guy, right? That's the Easter egg. I think we caught him. I think we caught him. Holy shit, that's a big ass pizza. Did I really order the big one? Oh my god. Fuck me. I won't have to eat tomorrow, I guess.
Stanley stood for a long time in one spot.
And we've actually seen this
He likes to
guy
see how
already,
long
so
he can go without dying. So far, he's
unfortunately, nothing
just
new.
stays right where he is. I'm
Oh my
sure
god, this is so
he'll keep our
moist
banquet
and
momentum.
oily.
Let's
Actually,
observe
I don't know
the
if
genius at
that's a
work.
good sign or a bad sign. I don't know. I guess we'll have to control. Oh my god, it's so hot. Yeah, I guess I'm lucky in the worst ways, in like the most pointless ways. I don't know. Can I control this with one hand?
All of his co-workers were gone.
It's gonna be a little difficult, but I don't know. Maybe I should eat first. Maybe we should watch a video together or something. I don't. Is there? To the museum. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. And we won't look around too much, but we will look at the video. I guess. I guess that's a good idea, actually. So I'll head there.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah, I play on the Steam. I don't know, is it actually available on another platform? I was actually thinking it's only on Steam. Where the fuck am I?
Yet
Oh yeah,
there
that's
was
behind
not
the
a
door.
single person here either.
It's fine.
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Oh yeah,
Stanley
of
decided
course
to
it
go
would be.
up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
This is weird to navigate it like this.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
Upstairs.
boss's office.
While I go there, so there's something on the way.
Here's the door, just go.
Oh, I see. That's fine. Luckily. That would be the worst. But I don't know. How do actually achievements work in on Epic Games? Do they have an achievement section? I don't actually play any games on Epic.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Like, I would actually make sound effects, huh? With a mouthful of pizza? I can do that, I guess.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
It's interesting that this
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator. Stanley was led helplessly.
this end has no malice in it. It like
a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated.
he's not actually mocking Stanley and stuff
Killing him instantly.
for going for his death and stuff like he does in some other ends, the narrator. So that is an interesting point.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
So yeah, we're getting a sneak preview of this ending, which we will discover thoroughly. Talks about Zending, huh? Do these endings actually have names here in the game? I'm sorry if you're actually annoyed by that. I'm trying to mute myself as much as possible, but okay. Oh, there are emails we can read as well, I guess. It's not the same as a video. We've actually been that way. Oh my god, what is this slice? Oh, it's 2 slices, thank god. It is, I know. I remember. I vaguely remember that. But it doesn't seem so complicated at first sight. I don't know, wasn't it by the war zone? I do remember something like that there, but no, this is just a picture. What the fuck is going on here anyway? We've been here, right? Yeah, those are emails. So if we back up, Here? No. Oh, there's just a projector from the meeting room. No, I guess we can do that too. That would actually be quite perfect. I guess I know where that is. I guess I have seen that. This is the exit then. There, right? I'm staring right at it. To the room I was in, sorry. When though? Oh, before you exit. This one? Is it? Oh, Zending. Oh yeah, Zending. Where's the video? There's a hallway there. There are two hallways. There's a hallway next to levers. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, trailers. And no audio, is it? Does it start on its own? Ah, there we go. Good shit. I will actually mute myself. This looks like a goddamn tech demo. I don't know. Was there sound in the original? Or is it just silent like this? There is. We might need to watch it on YouTube then. Oh yeah, there was one familiar asset. But nothing else. None of this is actually in the final game. I guess this room kind of was. Yeah. Very representative of the final product. That's the only one? There's only one? They say we ran 4 major teaser trailers. Oh, this is the first one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I see. I guess we'll have to find it on YouTube.
This is a message for members of the Internet. Those not from the Internet are advised to disregard this message, and more importantly, go down to your local electronics retail outlet and get with the times already. To those whom this message concerns, good to see you. I've been off the radar a bit long, haven't I? And I know how hard this lonely period has been on you. But I'm so terribly busy working on a story that I think you'll just die for. You see, I was upset to learn that many players found the original Stanley Parable to be confusing and contradictory. A far cry from the simple story of hope and redemption I had intended it to be. So to rectify this mistake, I'm taking steps to ensure that this updated version will be streamlined to remove any incoherent plot lines. Expect every new piece of content to seamlessly answer all the questions you may have been left with after playing the first game. It's my hope that this installment will fix the somewhat embarrassing mistakes of the original while proving definitively to the world that a video game can make you cry. And I know our mutual friend Stanley would be devastated if he were left out, which is why he's graciously volunteered to star in it once again. Or I'm sure he will anyway. But until we ask him to make that choice, I offer you this and future updates, and I remind you that one's time is better spent living than waiting. After all, with so many doors to prepare, it could be quite some time before this story is fully cooked. So, go out and be productive. Make some choices. Enjoy the hours you have left. Perhaps you could even spare a thought for Stanley, sitting there with nothing but himself and his buttons, day after day. He's been getting rather comfortable, I think, as humans tend to do when the scenery stops changing. And for the moment, we'll let him stay that way. After all, you and I both know things are about to change rather drastically. I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise for either of you. But you'll find out. You'll find out when it's time to play the game again.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. You said Stanley Parable. That's the channel? Stanley Parable? No, this Stanley Parable. Or is it this one? This is the one? Oh, just Stanley Parable. Okay. A sneak peek, so that's one. Launch trailer. So we've seen the teaser trailer, FAL trailer. Now there's the making of. No, it's fine.
For boys and girls all over
That's
the world,
the official name.
games are an exciting pastime. Here we see a group of young boys playing the Stanley Parable. It's invigorating, promotes teamwork, and for just a few brief minutes helps them forget the nuclear winter that claimed their parents. But young Timmy here has a question about his favorite game. Where did the Stanley Parable come from? Timmy, it's an excellent question. Like all video games, the Stanley Parable was made here, in Wyoming. From a young age, children are trained in the art of programming. Today, this young girl will learn C#, Visual Basic, and high-level assembly language. If she fails, she'll be fed to the others. When the children come of age, they are tied together and marched into the center of town, where they will each write a single line of code, and then they die. Twice a day, the King of Wyoming comes to inspect the development and issue a judgment on its progress. Reverse walking. The game has overwhelmingly won his approval. When the game is complete, it's time for production and distribution. Here, a number of witches are turning straw into fiberglass insulation, which the game will be printed on. Witches are hard workers, and they love their jobs, for which they've all volunteered. This one is brimming with joy at the thought of one day getting her child back. And at long last, The Stanley Parable is ready to be shipped out to eager players. All over the country, thousands of citizens have descended on their local Game-O-Plex to try it out for themselves. The fervor is palpable. The tragedy strikes when just 30 seconds into the start of the game, the crowd becomes enraged by it and erupts in a bloody riot. It's the worst game they have ever played. Tonight, millions will die. The game's creators are put on trial for their crimes. They've hired a lawyer, but unfortunately, he only speaks Italian. A guilty verdict comes back from the judge, and the creators are imprisoned, then shipped out to a camp to spend the rest of their lives teaching bees how to read. It's a futile task. Bees can't read. The Stanley Parable is a failure, but perhaps you can learn from their mistakes. That's right, Billy. You too can make a video game, one that might inspire the nation. Well, to be fair, I haven't seen your work. I can't really speculate on your artistic potential. Realistically, your game will probably suck.
I think this is the most perfect mixture of funny and confusing as fuck. I think I haven't seen anything that would be both in such quantity. Like, I've certainly seen funnier things. I've certainly seen more confusing things. I haven't seen nothing that would have this, like, ratioed balance. Yes, I would say, yeah. It's great. It's actually, I think it's a little more absurdist than the rest of the game, but it is pretty good. It is a pretty good trailer. I would play it based on that. What is this? What is this?
Here, and I'm playing a new game by the name of Stanley Parable. It seems like it's one of those original games where it's got some different themes and symbols and motifs. You play Stanley as he tries to unravel the world around him. Hey, what's going on? It's Chill here. I got a new game I'm playing, Stanley Parable. He's a office worker, and his job is just to kind of, you know, just explore up and down the walls. It's supposed to be about life and stuff. Hello, Internet, and welcome to a story of a man named Stanley. Stanley has yet one job: to experience life and all it has to offer. We did it, Internet. We just completed the game. Now, Stanley, he could be something special. He could be someone different. Yet Stanley chooses to do the same thing over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a choice in how we're going to live. And what we're going to do. For me, the choice is to go forward. Land, I'm pretty sure I was already here. It feels as if the pathway is constantly growing. Kind of feel like I should be getting paid more for my job. I feel like one of these things changed on me. 7, 8, 9. And yet I know nothing will change. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me why I'm in this hallway. I live the good life. The good life lives me. Walking down up these hallways. I really have to take a pee, but there's no bathroom. What? The hell? Is this my room? What the? Hello? Hello, why is no one else in here? I'm going now, Doris. I'm going back to my hallway. My familiar hallway. I know that hallway. That hallway doesn't change. That hallway next me. What the I'll progress. Oh, boxes. It's kind of like my memories stored and filed away. Same time every time. Yeah, I'm dreaming.
Oh, goodness. I do believe he's lost his way. Now, between you and me, I don't think he stood a chance in the first place. But he's having such a grand time here in these hallways. Why should we bother him? Yes. Yes, it's all very amusing. And we laugh, and we call our friends over, and they laugh too, and soon the whole world laughs and laughs and laughs at the man who failed. Ah, but there's a twist. Are you ready for it? Watch him closely, because in and amongst his aimless meandering, I think he's actually beginning to discover something. He's getting closer to an answer, an explanation, an exit. He is beginning to earn his freedom. But of course, that isn't for you to see. You, sitting there, what have you gained watching this video? What have you learned? Do you know this man? Do you know anything about him? No, of course not. Now, if I could truly put you in his shoes to show you the paths he walked and the choices he made, but we both know that isn't possible. Not yet. Soon, you will be the one to walk. The controls will be in your hands. Soon, we will find out if your friends turn and laugh at you, just as they did with him. Oh, I think I'm going to enjoy this. When you find out how alone you truly are, I will be laughing more than anyone. Very soon now. The end is nearly here. Let's play, everyone. Let's all play.
I love it, actually. It feels less like a roast. It feels more like a... Well, it's great marketing. That's what it is. We can look at the launch trailer. It feels like the less in common with the game it has, the better the advert it is. No, it's all eaten. It's all eaten already, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I didn't know you wanted a demonstration. It was salami. Yeah. And it's got pizza written on it. So I guess I ate some pizza. Anyway, I'm gonna wash my hand. I will leave you with one more trailer, which I'm not gonna watch myself.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that...
Has it been this quiet the whole time?
Stanley went around. Stanley stepped into
Oh, they're talking through different rooms. Yeah, okay. Again, very representative of the final game, right?
Oh, come now. You don't want it to end already, do you? Why don't we begin again?
This is actual footage from the game, though. It's good,
Wait,
except for this thing. Well,
How
maybe.
did you do that?
So yeah, of course, the brilliant bit was that I played it for you. While you have potentially seen it a couple of times, and I have not seen it ever. So I think that's also fitting for this game's narrative. And yeah. And also listen, okay? I have something to... Yeah. Anyway, let's get back into the game and keep trying. I guess there's still the unused audio that you mentioned. The intro of the game, but phone call. Okay, we will go back to the phone calls and to the museum as one of the last highlights. I don't know what, how long are you willing to stay up if you're actually going to be here till the end of the stream. But you know the museum. You know the museum.
What could it mean?
You all know the museum. Well, 4 more hours. Realistically.
Stanley had never seen the office this bright.
And yeah, the funny part is gonna be like midnight strikes and there's no achievement.
All of his co-workers were
so
gone. What could it mean?
I'm quite looking forward to that.
Just a step through this door.
I don't know. I should plan different projects, not this 24-hour stream.
Stanley had never.
This was a crazy thing to attempt.
All of his co-workers.
I should maybe play more normal more normal games. Sorry, not once. I will actually.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought.
There is a person who's playing 2 things at once. A phone. Actually, you have an idea for later.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming.
How am I this unlucky with this? Well, I still wanted to go through the endings and do a little bit more of an analysis and a little more of an overview of them. Because we've been through them and we've been like, okay, thank you, narrator, and we just restarted the game and tried to find the other ones. So I want to go back through because I think the endings on the right side of the
Stanley knew the office
on the right door through the right door are a little more interesting in terms of its meta narratives, but
Stanley
we'll
had
see.
never seen the office.
We'll see. I'm telling you what we're definitely not doing again, and that's the baby game. I don't want to see that forever.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand.
Well, basically, and you haven't been here for the endings in the beginning, have you been?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like?
Hmm.
It was a computer, perhaps, and a painting.
All
Was it
right.
A painting or a photo?
We can actually try that.
All of his
But
co-workers
it will be hard to choose the criteria. Also,
Even
what
now,
counts as an
Stan-
ending? Do we count the broom closet ending?
all of his co-
I think they're all interesting in a way. Well, let me retract that. There are a couple that are just like actually kind of boring
all of his
and long.
co-workers were go-
For example, the confusing ending is a very weird mixture of
all of his co-workers were
Um,
gone.
no replayability,
Someone
but
was
a
following
funny,
Stanley.
interesting initial concept.
The meeting room. Yes, that.
And there are some endings that just have
Yes, that.
further that gain further context the more you play the game and the more you repeat it. So
How long was I sitting there? All of his co-workers. I can't wait to tell this.
Oh my god.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
It is the Future Happiness Foundation. I can't believe it. Papers.
All of his
Knew this doesn't bode well.
all of
Yeah,
his
yeah, the
co-workers
door
were
is inaccessible, unfortunately. And it's not an ending, I guess. Like, it's still... The rest of the game is still accessible.
gone. All of his co-workers were gone.
Yeah, cheats. We cannot do those.
All of his co-workers.
I haven't actually seen... Not even seen the series
All
room.
of his co-workers were gone. How long was I sitting? All of his co-workers were gone. What could...
But a tier list is an interesting thing to do, actually, and going through those endings and
All of his co-workers
maybe
were
justifying why we're deciding to rank them the way we are.
How wonderful.
Well, I guess I shouldn't dismiss the broom ending, though,
Stanley knew the
because
office-
Zending exists, right?
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it...
Okay,
Stanley decided to go to the...
that's awesome, actually.
All of his co-workers were... The meeting room. Yes, that's...
And I'll be briefer in those sort of exploration, or explanations and explorations of those topics and themes that are in there. And you can chime in definitely when we go through them individually.
All of his co-workers...
Well, but then again, I've already done the left door endings, all of them basically, except for the museum.
Stanley had never seen the office this bright.
I've done those twice, and once with a sort of a lengthy explanation,
Just a step
or
through this
exploration, I
door,
would
Stanley
rather
thought.
say. So, but I guess there's still
Stanley knew
time.
the office layout like the back of his hand.
Yeah, I know. I'm still archiving the streams though. I will be uploading them on
All of
YouTube,
his
so
co-workers were gone.
I guess we can go in for a refresher.
Stanley had never seen the office this...
But that would be probably
All
it.
of his co-workers were gone.
I wanted to do a museum last,
All of
actually,
his co-workers were gone.
because I think the museum is a
All of his co-workers were gone.
well, yeah. There's something about that as well.
A soft wind blew outside and...
Oh my god,
Stanley knew the office layout.
we're getting an unlucky streak right here.
All of his co-workers... All of his co-workers...
Yo, by the way, I actually advertised this stream on my Facebook as well
Even now, Stan...
to my friends who basically none of them play video games, even less of them watch
The meeting room. Yes,
watch streams on Twitch. So if any of them tuned in during the day, they must be confused as fuck.
all of his co-workers were gone.
I was actually thinking of working
Just a
from
step
the
through
end
this door,
towards the beginning, so I would think that the windows are actually one of the last ones,
someone was following
but
Stanley.
it doesn't matter really. They do gain more context as
The meeting room. Yes, that's
we play through them, all of them, basically.
all of this.
We're not gonna hit the phone call, are we?
All of his co-workers. All of his co-workers were. Wait. All of his co. The meeting room. How long was I sitting? A soft wind blew outside. All of his co. All of his co-workers were gone. I can't wait to tell this story. All of his co-workers were gone. All of his co-workers. The meeting room. Yes, that's where every.
Phone call.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happy.
I'm so curious about the last phone call.
I can't
I am
wait to tell
so
this.
goddamn curious, actually.
All of his co-workers.
Yeah, so I would actually go explore the endings on the right,
Already, this was
through the right door. All of them, and again, I guess even the confusion ending, even though we did that one like a million times again
Yes, that's
as
where
well.
everyone would.
But it is fun. Like it's a fun romp. It's more comedic than actually thought provoking. Is this one?
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
No.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he. All of his co-workers were.
I don't trust the paper room.
All of his co-workers were gone. Look. Just a step through this door.
That works. That works for me.
All of his co-workers were gone. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? How wonderful. All of his co-workers were gone. I can't wait to tell this story.
Again, though, left door we've already did. Like again, for an overview, sure. I don't know if I want to stay there and
All of his co-workers
try to explore that. That one is actually the insane ending. The Mariella ending is so weird. It's just
all of his
so
co-workers were
dense
gone.
in terms of
All of his co-workers were gone.
its meanings. I guess it's a little
All of his co-workers
outside
were
of the
gone.
scope of the other paths. The other paths are sort of a commentary on. Are you sure there are 3 phone calls? By the way, I have incredible luck. Well, the other
Even now, Stanley's
what
office
is
was a distant.
misfortune actually to get it.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Stanley had never seen the office. The meeting room. All of his co-workers. Just a step. How long was I?
Oh my god, I'm tempted to just find it on YouTube or whatever, but that wouldn't help us very much.
All of his co-workers.
Well, I mean, does it matter though?
Stanley
And I
decided
actually
to go
spoke
to the
about
meeting.
heaven a little bit. Yeah, that's just one click away every time.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
I've heard that one. I've actually heard that one. Yeah, that is the 3rd phone call, and I've heard that one, and I don't know. Did I hear it on this desk, this very desk? When did I pick it up? It must have been one of those times that I was scouring around the office and I've seen it like flashing and. Oh my god, I have heard it so long ago, just on my own. And I've been waiting for it for so long. That is so insane. Alright, okay. Let's actually continue. Continue through as we normally would. I think like most of the Easter eggs we've actually seen.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's go right. Let's go
This
to
was
the
not the correct
apartment.
way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it.
So yeah, and I guess part of the
Perhaps he
ending
wanted to
is
stop by the
also
employee lounge
the
first,
way
just to admire it.
towards it. So yeah, this is apparently one of the ways that people actually break the game or break in. Yeah, the cold
It was
feet.
okay.
Right, we've seen that one a lot of times
Eager
as
to
well.
get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So yeah, I guess
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
so. This is an interesting point, though. He raises, like he says, he's not our enemy, which is interesting because if you actually listen to him and follow his directions from here on onward, yeah, I guess explorable. We will. Well, we'll go through the endings and we'll see where it takes us. Just like, I guess, what is it, like 3.5 hours we have? Well, yes, but at this point, like, we have no choice, or we have no option to go back, right? So there's basically no freedom for us. So right now, the narrator is channeling us through a path where we actually get one of the most depressing endings, I would say, and we're gonna see the results of it. Yes, exactly right. And that's the thing, too. It is only when we defy him at this moment, when he says he's not our enemy, that he actually tries to play nice. But again, he's just given us nothing to do, and we'll see that. I guess we will go to this ending.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
And so, yeah, this is a very enticing message, and
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life.
And
she's been waiting.
there is there is a weird pathos and a weird sort of emotional blackmail coming from the narrator, which is undeserved. Like, I don't. What has Stanley done to his wife that he's outside of his of, like, we as players don't know that, right? We are ignorant of Stanley's life outside of our control. So this is a bit of an intrigue, and it points towards again a little more of a more of a traditional narrative, right, where there's a character, there's a conflict suggested, but as we will see after we pick up the phone, what happens.
You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
And so there's seemingly no other option to do here. Just pick up the phone, because we cannot go back. It is actually locked. And the phone, as far as I know, it will keep ringing, right? Until we pick it up or do another action. But yeah, then we pick up, and it seems like a very idyllic situation.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Before?
Their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, I'm just gonna remind you, as he raised the brick wall, that the narrator actually told us that so far it has been our story, or the story of Stanley, right? And he actually wants to introduce one more person, and eventually he introduces himself as again a very active role in this narrative. And exactly right. Not only were we stripped of control right in front of the door, like we couldn't move, like I couldn't control my character, I couldn't run during this narrative. Further now, this strips us of all control, even if it seems like it doesn't.
It's a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
427, and exactly like that was on the door, so it is exactly as if we were going back to our cubicle, and there's no way to progress this in any other way than to press exactly what they tell us. And yeah, if the thought of the mind control facility was actually real, in the office, we see the manifestation of it here. We may or may not think we have free choice, but the only path we can take forward is the one that is given to us on the screen, and it mimics exactly what Stanley would do in his office every time. Commands would come through the computer, and he would press the buttons that the computer would say. So it's exactly what we're doing here. Yeah, exactly right. And we can actually choose not to press it, but what happens? Like, we will stay in a rut. All we can do, the only other key we can press is escape and really quit, which is actually something another narrator suggests in a different path. Okay, so
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
and again, please press K. There's no other button that would do anything.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
And here the narrator points out that he's chosen this life, but it's a very ordinary life to live. Like, there's what can you actually do here? Do you actually choose to eat food? Do you actually choose to go to work? I guess it is a choice, but also it's a non-choice, and there's a lot of it in this game. The seeming choice that is, however, a non-choice, like, and it's exactly what these button presses are. Again, it's an illusion of choice. Exactly. And also, it is a little bit of an indictment, I would say. It highlights the mundanity of all our lives, and especially, I guess, gamers can actually see themselves in this, because they are much like Stanley. They press buttons much as he does in his work.
But in his mind,
What got replaced
he can
now?
go on fantastic adventures.
Nope,
From behind
nothing.
his
I
desk,
don't know.
Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
And again, very much like playing video games, right? So, and copying from the speedrun ending names, this would be my ideal order of endings to do, but I don't know. Apartments ending, insane, heaven, that voiceover, confusion games countdown song. It's fine. We'll come to it. Press K to watch TV, and if we actually try to watch TV, what happens is it gets replaced by some office
First, he imagined that
office
one day
furniture.
while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
I don't know what actually changes when we press 1. I didn't catch that last time.
So he went further. He
That's
imagined that he
nothing.
came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
And again, like, and this is highlighted in the very alternate ending to this one. The thought of like a very mundane choice being something that is exciting works on the level of this video game, where basically it is an exciting prospect to be able to actually defy the narrator. It's something that you cannot do in most games, in most sort of linear narratives. Your choice is actually locked to the story, and there's no way to alter it. Or if it is very deliberate that they give you a polar choice. Yes, of course, and as well as that, all that happened up till this point is actually Stanley's sort of dream of the adventure, the yearning for adventure. Three to prepare dinner, and again we look at the kitchen, and it's replaced by
fantasy world. He began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations.
by
Down one
office
path lay
furniture.
An enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
We don't even see any kids here.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
And this is one of the most wonderful lines of this ending. Surely there must be an answer. As you're playing through this game, as much as Stanley would explore this fantasy land, as you are exploring his sort of playfield, you are looking for some answer. You are looking for some closure, some conclusion, some right path. But is there really such a thing? Yeah. And now we are going to replace our
But
wife.
there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing.
Again, yes. In reality, right? Like, we can actually look at this game as being all meaningful and all of this, but in essence, it is something that we're just pushing buttons in.
Has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
Is it 0?
And are
Yeah.
you trying to tell him this? That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
And this plays wonderfully into the video game mechanics, really, because there is no way for us to not push the button. Again, we've been doing that through the whole time. We can push any other button. It does nothing. Yes, make us feel bad. Absolutely, like, it's a very depressing. As I said, it's one of the most depressing endings in this game. Well, is that true? I guess. Because this one is actually like reflective of reality and of our sort of going through life and trying to have experiences, because here it actually points to itself, to the game. Yeah, they are sadder. I don't know if more depressive though. Those are two different concepts in my mind, at the very least. But I think what is so successful about this is that this actually implicates the game as well. This very game as well. It just tells you, why are you playing this? Why are you wasting your time here, right? Because even in this game, which seemingly gives you all these choices and all these paths, it's all predefined, predestined. There's nothing to be sort of gleaned, which is partially true, I guess, but not at all at the same time. We'll get to Zending and highlight exactly that.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press 1 to question nothing. That's also a wonderful line.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Yeah. Well, I never even noticed that. That's really cool. That's actually cool that the morning disappears. Okay, so you said, I don't know, I might copy this into some like into this thing, into Notepad, just so I always have it on screen and I don't have to scroll back and turn off the game for the stream. Let's put it up here. Okay, hopping over to Zending, right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply...
At least they're gonna be out of the way, so that is also something. Oh, wow. This hallway is also kind of rare, isn't it? Like, I so very rarely encounter this. Is there something to do, or is it just like a alternate route? Different hallway, okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
So, of course, you can jump down, and it's more of a, like...
Really? I was in the...
really, I was in the middle of something, but really what you're actually trying to do is, again, just defy the logic of this game. Like, it's so very tempting to jump down on this ledge because there's no like railing around the platform, right? And again, it is this internal attempt at breaking the game's mechanics and the intended path. And the narrator berates you for it because
something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
Yes.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
So what we can see now is that the narrator actually builds an ending, a good ending, out of spite, basically, and it shows. I think it shows very much. Well, one of them, at the very least. But again, it's conditioned by compliance,
now listen
right?
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
So we will walk through the red door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
And again,
You see
the
that
red
I
door
really
was left.
have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two
And
of
the problem is all these choices. That is one of the driving factors. Like, basically, much of the happy endings, or what seems to be happy endings, is locked behind compliance, right? Compliant with the narrator's golden path, with his story. Oh no, you're gonna be leaving. Right. Yeah, I remember most of them, and where I won't, I guess we'll switch the order a little bit. I guess. Oh, that's a shame. Unfortunately, I loved you on the stream though. I very much enjoyed your presence, and will keep enjoying it until you have to leave. It was fun with you very much. You helped me tremendously to get through the baby game.
Yeah, running and running and running, just the way.
Oh, will
it is
you?
right
Okay.
now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
And yeah, the narrator actually hates those choices because, of course, like he's got this path. He is supposed to be like this omniscient, basically the constructor of this world, and every choice there is presented to you, you basically jeopardize his world. He's risking that you will break it, right? Which you can see in a lot of these paths, like when you defy where to go and what to do, especially in some very egregious ways, you basically break the world and or find it in an unfinished state, and so on and so forth.
And I think I have a solution.
Okay, thanks so much for stopping by. Thank you. Have a good one.
Here, let me show you.
Okay, if you want to continue, actually, there's nothing to do, and it actually takes you around just this block. The door is the same on both sides. There's no choice. There are two doors, but this time it's no choice. We are locked into the narrator's story. In a sense. And so we walk through this door. We are hit with a loading screen.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
And we get this ending. This insane...
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment, with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
So yeah, you can actually admire this place. You cannot walk off this platform, even though it seems like it. And there's genuinely nothing to do. Like, the narrator will let you stay here and just like look at the colors and be mesmerized by this, and yeah, feel zen, right? Feel stripped of the tiresome burden of choice. But of course that's not why you're playing video games, right? You're not playing video games to stand idly and look at shit. The very reason, the very essence of a video game is that you interact with it, right? So this is why this is one of the most interesting games in this medium. Is actually, it explores this dynamic of like set pieces and like beautiful things to look at versus the main drive of a video game, and even video game when sort of latched onto the narrative of it, is that the gameplay is important. The gameplay is for the player the main thing for why he's even engaging with an interactive media as this. So this is nonsensical, of course, and we're not happy with it. Few people would be actually happy with it, and I don't know how many people actually spend this much time here on their first playthrough. Immediately we see a door and we go through.
No, wait. Where are you going?
And this makes our narrator really, really sad. And I mean really sad. And again, it is something that he did not intend for us to do. Well, he did not. The narrator didn't. The developer, of course, did. But as we can see, the walls are here like very dilapidated. It is, again, something in a state of disrepair. Something unfinished. Including the staircase here.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
And again, we will lose all of this. The narrator hates that, because we will go back to making choices and to getting back our agency. So we can come back here
Good,
and
good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
and he gets very emotional, and this is one of the very few endings
What do we
where
talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
where he seems
You
like
heard me
sympathetic.
before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
And again, why does he care? There are endings where he literally doesn't care or actually pushes us towards that. Then there are endings where he actually is trying to explain that we are dying slowly. We are killing ourselves. But this time, if we comply, we don't have to do that. We don't have to.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
And yes, that is an important part of this. Of course, he needs us, and we need him, basically, for the game to happen, right? Without the narrator, there would be no game in this state. Like, you could walk around, and none of this would have any kind of meaning. So we need the narrator, of course, to give it some narrative, to give it some meaning to all this wandering about. But the narrator needs us as well. Needs actually Stanley as a character to have someone to have a reason to exist. Have someone because of who he exists. So yeah, we can drop to our death. And again, this is like a very...
Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
And his dialogue changes so much here. He seems so caring.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
And yes, where we can both be happy. Of course, the narrator will be happy. We are not very much going to be so.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
So there's a million interactions. I'm not going to show them all because I don't know.
No, what do you do? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Nothing. Basically nothing. And the fact is that in this ending, there's nothing that we can do other than reset the game, right? Or stay there forever, I guess. Or quit the game from that point.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
No,
My God,
and I refuse.
Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
He's not. Again, it's like a very emotional blackmail type of situation. We are just exploring one of the endings that the game offers.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
And we cannot go back to this ending.
Wanted to
Like,
make
there's...
a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Yes, we did want to make a choice after all. That is our primary motivator as a player. And again, like, but here there is a dynamic, though. We have to remember that the narrator actually talks to Stanley this whole time. He does not acknowledge us as a player, right? So there is that extra level where he thinks he can actually communicate to Stanley, and perhaps Stanley would have stayed in the Zen room, but alas, Stanley is controlled by us, and we will kill ourselves or kill Stanley.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
And yeah, there's a little nihilistic tinge to it, where the narrator hates the fact that he starts over, right? That the story starts over and he forgets as well. Although
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So yeah, if we go by the order, oh, I don't know why I alt-tabbed it. I didn't have to do that. So we've already did the insane ending. I think it's a little too long, and I've already showed it on a previous video. Actually, 2 videos back, 2 VODs back, I would say. So we kind of explored and it's very narratively dense. It's not very easy for interpretation. So I'm not even gonna do any overview. Oh, we had heaven, so we can go back to heaven. We will go there, I guess, next time. That voiceover, that is falling down from elevator. Voiceover is out of window. Right. Oh yeah, so we can go right again
This was
and
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly.
do the
well.
ending.
Perhaps he wanted to stop.
This
by
is
the
a simple.
employee lounge first,
This is
just to admire it.
kind of a simple ending
Okay.
that would be on par or
Eager to get back
on the
business,
path to
Stanley
the
took the
elevator
first open door on his
or the
left.
platform here, where we
Stanley
decide
was
very
so bad
early
at
to kill
following
ourselves.
directions, It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So we either get get this
But
quote
in his
that
eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
yeah, we are greeted to this very ironic thing. So yeah, heaven, we haven't seen heaven, or actually I have shown heaven. I will show it again. I said again that this is Yeah, and we have a note that there is a reset allowed. Again, one of the things that we can consider basically canonic endings, since it, or definitive endings, since the only way to get out of here is to begin the game again. So if we just do a quick run through this, yes, there is also the...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The way to
No
break the
matter how
games,
hard Stanley
yeah.
looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-worker.
What looks like a non-decision, but is actually a decision, is jumping out of this window. And this one is actually interesting. It has some narration.
First, Stanley assumed...
Yeah. At first, Stanley assumed that we broke. Okay, so you cannot jump in this game. So that is one of the premises, right? That is one of the fundamentals. But you can actually climb chairs. It's fairly easy to do, and you can crouch. So there is a way to get out of this window. And it seems unintentional at first. The narrator stops. There is quiet for a little while. But then what happens is he starts talking.
He'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along.
And here the narrator informs us, no, we accounted for everything. We accounted for every of your choice. We've seen a couple of times during the stream that that's not entirely true, but it is for the more obvious game breaks. Unfortunately, not the one in the control room, but what do you do?
He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary.
Praise the game, right? Like, and you can imagine, like, what did we say? This came out in 2013. You can imagine that this would have been true, definitely in that year. There have been games that came out since that did it very smart as well, but the Stanley Parable was one of the first.
Into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes.
So yeah, this is very on the
now that
nose.
you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
And again, if we actually click yes,
Well,
he will
I don't
actually
know how
tell
to say
us.
this politely, but you could literally just hit
Escape and restart the game.
any
Yeah.
old time you
Why
want,
did we
like
actually...
right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more.
So we are not actually sick of the gag. We are not. We want to know what the fuck happens if we click yes.
Or all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the...
And again, yeah, it is a conflict. It arises from what we are actually saying and doing in the game and what we might mean, right? So we are clicking yes because we want to explore that option, but selecting that option actually signals a thought we may not be having, right? Because if we had it, we would have acted differently. It is a very similar situation to I don't know, killing civilians in, let's say, Call of Duty, the infamous airport level. We can choose not to do that. Maybe that's a bad example because there it is implied in a little bit of a different way. But I don't know. It's there are much more simpler examples like RPG games where we pretend to be heroes but loot chests regularly because we want to have the armor and the money to afford better equipment. But we are supposed to be very virtuous, and few games punish us for it, and fewer games still highlight this discrepancy. Stanley's Parable does.
So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
And yeah, So he actually starts with this lovely song, actually, and it's not.
Was a man named Stanley.
It's not very miserable at all. It's very enjoyable.
So manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton.
Yeah, the only problem with this, and the only way it's unenjoyable, is because this is a featureless room where there's nothing to do but listen.
Which is why he is in
Nothing
this
at all.
parable. And lives an
I'm sorry for the
quite terrible. And
messages.
if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too
That voice,
will
dude.
become quite unbearable.
And yeah, you are forced to reset. You actually have to reset. There's no other way out of here. And it is basically an ending. Again, a sort of a definitive one. Let me just shoot a message and let you listen to this song. And yeah, as far as I know, this will play forever, basically, in a loop, right? It is very much like the elevator in the boss's office. No, it actually dies down. I'm not an expert for this game, by the way. I just like did a little bit of surface level studying. But I'm trying to explain the reasons why I picked this game for a 24-hour stream. It's not only because of the achievement. For the achievement, I could have let it run in the background and do something more entertaining for myself. So yeah, we will have to begin the game again. The music dies down, and then it's actually unbearable and boring. But we can also pick no.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be.
Go
Stanley
back.
just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No.
Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea, but rephrased...
I hope I don't have to actually comment on this any further. I think this is a very self-explanatory. After we've picked yes, this very much perfectly encapsulates. This is also very on the nose.
...did superficially to fit that answer. Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is Rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
But yeah, again, the only thing I would add is, again, just like the narrator despises our decisions and our actually gluttony for choosing the options that are not his golden path, not his favorite path. And we've seen why, basically, in the apartment ending. We have seen why he thinks this is bad for us. How we're killing ourselves. How this is actually pointless and stupid to spend our time on these pointless choices, right? Or seeming choices, because it's all very illusory. So we did voiceover, confusion. I don't know if we want to do the confusion. We did it a lot of the times, but it is basically right door path, so we'll take it. Why not? We'll do it again.
Just
it is very long,
through this
though.
door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It was okay.
It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
And as I pointed out earlier in this very same VADA, I believe, the confusion ending is...
He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
yeah, we've highlighted the left door versus the right door, and how the narrator thinks it's never the right door.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No.
But what we didn't point out last time is that he actually consults something. We can see it here, right?
Why would I have ever said
He shuffles the papers here.
What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Yeah, papers rustling. He has some notes. So
You went down right, left, down, left...
this is a suggestion that perhaps he's not the architect of this reality.
This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
And he gets as confused as us. And in fact, the...
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
And this is actually a weird suggestion, because in most of the other paths, the narrator is actually the one to control the narrative. Here, it is suggested he is not in the control in the slightest. He's actually following the script, not one that he built, but one that someone else built, and he's just like a puppet. He's also like a pawn, perhaps on a bigger level. But yeah, if we continue with this reset.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We come to this thing. There are 2 doors. This is fine, but oh no.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you...
And now he's actually accusing Stanley. He should know that Stanley is completely... Yeah.
Who wrote the story?
Who wrote the story. And he actually says that he wrote the story, but suddenly the story is getting away from him.
Here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere.
That's what makes this different, but also so very sort of tough to process, and more of a romp and more of a joke than anything actually serious. Because I'm sorry, I'm just gonna turn on the lights and turn them down a little bit, just like, yeah, to have some light. But it is coming from a bad angle, so it is quite difficult to actually reconcile with all the other stuff, because where there the narrator is in an absolute
Let's find the story.
absolute control. That is not to say that this game I'm sorry, that this ending would be completely without meaning. It has a very this trippy corridor where it just dynamically changes the layout of this, and you're coming onto rooms that have no sense. You come back to the central room again. You're like, what? Where did I take the wrong turn?
This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before.
But there are a couple of interesting tidbits. One of them being that the narrator actually thinks that the adventure has to have a very set goal and a very set path. And as soon as you deviate from it, it is consistent with his character that he hates it, and he doesn't think that it is a story that should be told and should be experienced.
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Why not?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
So we go back, we loop back, and
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
and the story is like the most important thing for the
No, wait,
narrator.
never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
And again, we're doing the same thing that we just did.
Now this... Well,
And it
I'll be
doesn't-
honest, I don't
doesn't
recognize
do
this place
anything.
at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
For that win, and
fair
again,
and
like,
square, and
since
this was
when
not
are
one
we
of
actually
those
operating
situations.
in wins and losses, right,
I'm
in
getting
this
weirded
game?
out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Okay, the lighting is rubbish actually in the room.
All
now.
right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
And yeah, it actually takes us to a very different place. We're supposed to go this way, right? So if we try...
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
So the line takes us through a path we will not take through any other ending. Right? Or any other path, for that matter.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination?
And there's the other interesting tidbit where he goes on to explore the journey versus the destination.
Even
right?
if there's no story there. Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that.
And he corrects
I
himself.
think what we
He
need
doesn't
right
believe
now
that,
is a bit of
actually.
music to lighten the mood.
And yeah, the adventure line is all getting all fucked and nonsensical, right? So and taking us through some of the weirdest paths and but again unique places actually.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern...
A
will be
little bit of
very
an
important
absurdist
later
humor.
in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
And technically they're right, I guess. If you do it after the freedom ending, it's animated. I guess it pulls some asset from the freedom ending, so it is actually important in the story because it points out to the outside world, I guess.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
So he shifts the blame to Stanley, and of course...
No, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Pointless, absolutely pointless. And then he
a
actually
choice.
rests.
We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. how important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here.
And
just walk in circles for a minute.
For the first time
So I know
in like
door has to lead
all the
somewhere.
endings, this is where the
Somewhere, the place where we're trying to
narrator
get
actually welcomes a
must be
choice.
a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the
And
counter-inverted
does
reverse door's origin.
actually
So starting from the right, let us
a
ask which
pseudo-logical
right door
argument
leads
to select one of the
Since
doors,
the answer is clearly
and
yes, then by all
select
accounts,
the door he would
on
never
the right
select,
is the
right?
correct one.
The door on the
Another
right.
victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Ugh. Okay, and then it's a confusion.
hold up, what's
Again,
this?
16 minutes. I don't know whether that's always
The
16 minutes or
confusion ending.
I just
You're telling me that's what this is? It's all
typically.
one giant ending?
I love how
We're
this
supposed to
plays
restart
with
the
my
game
webcam lighting.
8 times?
Bright,
Really how all this goes?
dark,
It's all determined?
bright.
So now, according to
Dark.
the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well,
Yeah,
what
and
about it?
I just wanted to highlight that this, like the confusion ending, has all this schedule that never comes about. So there is a
Simply because it's
a suggestion that this is not actually the confusion ending. We haven't ever fulfilled the full list of it, right?
written here on this thing wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know?
Prepare for a jump scare.
Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Illegal operation, basically. Okay, so we did the confusion, and again, not very necessarily in line with the rest of the endings. It's a little out there, a little more comedic and a little more adventure filled. Actually, it feels like the most adventure of it all, with the music and all, and it's fun. So we go to the games one. The games one is also very long, but
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
I guess it is interesting actually, because this one is the most straightforwardly indicting to.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So yeah, we can go here and actually
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
climb off the platform here before it actually starts moving
I
and
realize that investing your trust in someone else
activate
is
the
difficult,
cold feet
but
ending.
The fact is that the story has been about
But we're
nothing
actually
but
heading
you.
towards the game's ending. The game's ending, which is, as the name suggests, perhaps.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
So a bit of a control freak again. We walked through the blue door,
Aha.
the right
Perhaps you
door.
misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
So once again, we defy that wish.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
And yeah, the red door would take us to the normal, or the ending we have already seen behind the red door. Which I don't remember which one it is. Oh, Zending. However, this is where it starts in deconstructing like classic video game tropes. Like, this is perhaps the biggest criticism and the biggest lampshade hanging of classic video game things, just classic video games, really, where it relates to the most basic mechanics. And this is where it starts, because like, okay, well, he left us only with the red door, with only this choice, right? But we have all this freedom. We are trying to exercise that freedom. There's this door to the right that cannot be unlocked, but what if we turn around all the way 180 degrees, and we will find the blue door still exists, and we can still walk through
All
it.
right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let
Odjet
me
pryč
stop
a nikdy se
you.
tu už neukazuje. Rozumíš?
Hi, I've seen a follow. I might actually, goddamn, I might actually create a follow button specifically for English-speaking people if I'm gonna start streaming in English eventually. But yeah, anyway, hope you liked at least the animation. So, but again, we see how reluctant the narrator is to let us go through a path he does not approve of. And this time it is because, as I said, most of the times we choose a path he doesn't want us to take. It is broken in some way, and this time it's just incomplete. It's just...
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You give me absolutely nothing.
So yeah, I'll pause this, and again, as I say, this is like all of a sudden the narrator thinks we want a classic video game. We are trying to find something traditional, right? In this narrative structure. It's not necessarily true, but our desire to actually break the game's intended path is actually what led us this way. We want a more traditional experience, exactly or precisely because what we have been doing so far is exercising our free will, exercising our agency, trying out things that fall out of the scope of the intended path, right? That's why we play games, to actually exercise our free will and
There we
to...
go. Third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
exercise our agency, really. So it doesn't actually matter, I believe, which door we take, but we will take the orange door, the new one.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
So yeah, well, it doesn't matter which one you select. It only changes the dialogue option, or the
Now
dialogue.
this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
And yeah, we are introduced to the Stanley Parable worldwide leaderboard. And it's very mocking. It makes no sense. Also, the times are way off. Nobody can complete this game this fast unless they cheated. And it shows us that we are dead last. What is this? 7? No, it's actually 7 hours. We've played for a little bit longer than that, actually, but okay. Anyway, but again, something very classic, very traditional. So we walk through the door.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
And this again highlights our absolute... it doesn't matter what we select here. The dialogue option is always the same.
I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
No, and we're coming here.
In this game,
The baby.
calls left.
The fucking baby.
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game. All about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours.
For about 4
why don't
hours.
you
So
4 hours?
I've been playing it for about 4 hours actually, so I guess I understand it now.
Play to be
And
sure
what
it's
I
effective.
understand about
Be
it
sure to keep notes
is that I absolutely hate this fucking baby and I want to see it burn. I want to see it burn up close.
You heartless bastard.
Perfect.
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Both.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
And yeah, again, we're moving into the
At last, the one
realm
thing you
of
always
classic
desired,
video games.
A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
This one is interesting though. Before the narrator actually continues, or we've actually seen what he has to
From now on,
has
I
to
will
say.
only create to
So I
fulfill
will
a
talk
greater
over him.
artistic
Hopefully
purpose.
that's okay.
Watch this, Stanley. I'm going
Why
to build a
Minecraft?
house.
It's a interesting choice because this is a game about absolute freedom. Like there's basically no rigid goals. There are some pointers of what you can do in the game, but really this is the ultimate game to realize your dreams as
It's complete.
Hi and welcome back. So this is the sort of ultimate game for freedom, and yet we are stuck here in
But you've only seen it
limited by the lacking mechanic of jumping, that we cannot run off into the field, and we actually have to listen to the narrator and
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait.
yeah,
That's
exactly
it.
right.
We
The
must
most free
rebuild
game,
it
the
out
least
of
free.
diamond.
We have to actually
Diamond,
follow the
everything.
narrator's
Yes.
path,
Come along, Stanley.
which
We
is
have
so
to
funny
find it.
again, because the only thing that actually limits us, we cannot jump. And I praise the design of this environment, that it looks very, very accurate to a Minecraft world, and yet we only have one path to follow, given by our inability to jump.
Oh my, It looks like it's
I'm doing them in
getting
your
dark
order,
before
actually,
the light.
mostly. I skipped some endings just because I didn't want to play them, I'll be honest with you. But we went through the confusion, for example,
This is
which
far more
we've
open-ended
went
than I
through
had in mind.
multiple
I'm looking for
times.
something more narrow
Um,
and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1
I
out of 5.
skipped
Diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay.
the Insanity. I skipped the Insanity, actually, because I've been through that and I've been trying to dive into it, and that one is the most... that one felt the hardest to actually sum up
Yes,
in
I don't even know what this
a
game is,
backward
but I
summary, so
love it.
I skipped that
You
one, and I
trapped
don't
in a
know if I
glass
skipped any
box
others.
with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is
We've
this
been
game
through
supposed
most
to
the
be?
others,
I
actually.
can't figure it out.
Yeah, we're at games now.
Okay, now I'm
There's a lot to go
curious.
through, actually.
Let's
Holy
go find out what the
moly.
hell this is.
But yeah, we're to Portal, which is, again, this is not a free game. This is a very on rails game, and the narrator likes it naturally. Yes. I've actually showed that on stream, so that is earlier in the footage. I've been trying to get stuck here for ages. I've been extremely tired when I've been trying to do this, and explained how you cannot actually do it in the original game. You could do it, I believe, in Portal pre-patch, but they patched it out. They fixed the door so that you cannot get stuck in here when you're playing Portal itself. But also an interesting game, built in the same engine, with the most primitive puzzle, and that's when they that's when the narrator locks us. And oh yeah, here's the part with the unfinished game again. So again, the only way out of here is to basically kill ourselves, and we're back to the original mod. From what I've gathered, this is what the mod looked like. Yeah. And there's nothing to do, is there? No, there is some path to follow, actually. I've never played the original mod, by the way, so I don't know what the hell is going on in here either. But this is our office, apparently, our original one. Yeah, it's broken. Oh yeah. That is the change. And it seems I don't
what
actually...
he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's got.
Oh, he set us free, actually.
wherever he
I
is
stopped
right
listening,
now.
sorry.
I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make...
But he is kind of right here that having this freedom in this game in particular is it feels hollow. There's nothing to explore. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to gain from this experience, really.
sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Does it reset on its own, or do we have to actually reset? Oh yeah, it does reset. And I believe that this quote, "The end is never the end. The end is never the end." Yeah, and I highlighted that earlier when you weren't here. Is actually when we were at the stairs by this ending. The whole game would be pointless, right? Like wandering around this hallway without the narrator. Like, we need the narrator as much as the narrator needs Stanley, right? And it shows. I think it shows one other strength of not only this video game, but something that goes contrary to the popular saying by John Carmack when he expressed that video games or story is to video games, or story is as important in video games as it is in porn. People expect it to be there, but nobody actually pays attention to it. And this game runs so contrary to that belief that story and narrative is important to video games, no matter the context, no matter how gamey you want to make it. There always needs to be some meaning that you need to derive from that experience, because if this was basically just a walking simulator without any narrative, it would be pointless. Of course, there are some games that are fine with a very limited narrative. And of course, when you go into the realm of multiplayer games, this kind of falls apart. But for the most part, at least some narrative is important for video games and should be important for video games. And that is perhaps the most poignant point of this game, is that there is sense in giving video games sense, if I'm expressing myself correctly. So yeah, if I'm gonna go back to chat, also games and Countdown are some of the longest endings other than Choice. So I decided to wipe them out both in a row. To be honest, the Rifle of Parable, a mod for this game, is actually a lot like this. It's really just pointless walking, looking for the secrets. Oh yeah, confusion, right, yeah. So, Countdown is next, is it? Games Countdown. Countdown is oh yeah. So we've already did that one, but we can do it again, I guess, and do a little bit of a overview then.
Simply missed a memo.
And again, we will see one thing that we have been highlighting throughout this game, and that is the narrator loves us when we follow his instructions, but he gets absolutely furious when we disobey him.
Here's the door, just go.
So yeah, we're following the instructions, very obedient, all the way to the very last moment, the very last decision. And it evokes the...
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
the most savage anger, basically. And it is a very, very cinematic ending. Right next to the freedom ending, it is actually very cinematic.
With television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was it the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I suppose you're not false, actually, yeah.
The heart of the operation, controls labeled with emotions.
It does interest you what happens. So I've talked a bit at length over what it means to actually defy the narrator here, and how pointless it seems, and how you've actually caused this to yourself.
You didn't just activate the control.
And yeah, again, I just say, I just have to highlight how absolutely savagely he wants to take us down. A nuclear blast, like he goes nuclear on us.
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just...
And it is a continuing narrative, actually, I'm sorry, a continuing motif in this game, where you, a lot of the times, you take control by literally killing yourself. This time you do it very unconsciously, but there are situations where the death is actually the sort of freedom, including the escape, right? When you go to the museum ending.
Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time.
Yeah, and it rises from the struggle between you and the narrator. I also seem to notice, yeah, the reticle comes back here, which is could have been useful in the boss's office, but okay. And yeah, the confusion and the chaos of trying to run around and trying to save ourselves. Again, I gotta say how much it reminds me of Portal and Portal's ending.
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story.
But this genuinely has no solution, no matter how many times you come back. And this is also one of the most deceiving. This is a very interesting room because it has so many buttons and so many seeming options. But again, it is quite impossible to do anything here.
Try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you. It's quite rich.
And it's on point, really.
But I'm sure whatever I
it kind of expects you to come back here often, very often, if provided you don't look at like some video guides and you know. And it shows the pointlessness of you trying to actually find some sense in this and find some logic in this and find a solution. You gotta understand that no solution exists. Your choices don't matter. Whatever you choose here, it doesn't do anything. And it is a sort of a metaphorical callback to the entire game. Whatever button you press across the entire game, unless it's literally the escape and quit game, it is not a choice. It is basically the same as this ending. Whatever we press here, it is just a different combination taking us to basically the same results.
Any idea what your purpose in this place is? But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10? 100? 1,000? I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb.
Yeah, and that is that is an interesting dynamic. Yeah, it is a very interesting comparison. Thank you for that. That is, you're highlighting that right. I like that. Probably the most seemingly options, but least to do. You can do nothing. You can only die here.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have
And yeah,
left to strike.
we see the dialogue actually repeats because we've already done this.
No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't.
Where's
It's
the
all
big
the
red
same.
button?
All
It was
part
here,
of the
right?
show. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we
Please.
begin until the moment I say happily ever after.
But again, an interesting dynamic. If we die, we actually restart the game, and death is really not the choice we think we have. It's actually death. Every time we die, we come back to the office. We are actually trapping ourselves here. With every active choice that we take, every time we try to take control, we just loop back around, and we are here to experience it again, and perhaps find some sense that we are missing in these choices. Something that we are overlooking in our desperate struggle to choose, and to choose our own path, right? Yeah. It tempts you to try again and again and again. And I'm sorry if there are people who've never played Stanley Parable and we've spoiled that ending. There is actually no solution to that room. But you can try. Maybe you will find something that nobody has ever figured out. Because, well, the combinations are basically enormous. It may be that there is a solution none of us know about. But probably not. Anyway, because data mining and stuff like that exists. Okay, let's continue. We are doing song. I think we've done song. Song, you mean the window?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his
I don't see the
He never
explanations.
functioned well by himself, and constantly needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
And reluctant was actually locking ourselves in the room, was it? So I missed that one as well. Let's go do Cold Feet. Okay, we have it as a separate ending, I guess. We will do that. There's not much to talk about. It's like a one line changed basically, and
When Stanley came to a
it doesn't
set
draw
this was
on
not
the other
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly.
other paths
Perhaps he wanted to stop
too
by
much.
the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it. Come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
It's interesting that he actually tries to push us to jump. There's nothing to do here, by the way. No way to escape. Genuinely no way. Not even if you try to, like, scale down carefully. We've tried that. I've actually tried that on stream. It is impossible because even the smallest drop will actually kill you. Well,
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
and again, like it was vengeance for defying his narration, basically. So yeah, we can lock ourselves in the door.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
And the funny thing is, it actually resets us, but with just the open doors. Like, but it does suggest that we were left behind in this office, and that is an ending on itself. Like, it is not something that we can make up our mind about. Like, that closing of that door was a choice, was a deliberate choice, and it was a fatal choice, the final choice, right? So if I remember correctly, I say that would be the reluctant. If we follow the path again, stuck, I'm assuming that's portal. I'm not doing that. I've done that in the morning, actually, so that's in one of the earliest files. I would be there for an hour. I know that. I don't know how to trap myself very effectively. Secret Disco, we did that as well. I don't think that it's necessary to show that. It's not actually a very narratively driven ending. Escape pod, I've showed that. There's not a lot to talk about, actually. There really isn't, and I've shown what the sign says on the wall, so we're not repeating that either. I will go with the museum last. I want to push it at the very end. I have a very firm reason for that. So even if I know. It is an interesting one, and whiteboard hasn't appeared. Again, not much to talk about. The whiteboard is basically an Easter egg.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So we will do the choice and freedom again, just to
the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
do an
Perhaps he
overview,
wanted to stop by the employee
have this
lounge first,
sort of
just
final
to admire it. It was okay.
a final video.
But eager to get back to business,
I guess this will
Stanley
be
took the first open
the
door on
very
his left.
very last file.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
So this is a very interesting ending, by the way.
Look, Stanley, I think
It
perhaps
is,
we've gotten off on
because
the wrong foot here.
it
I'm not
begins
sure
very
you really are.
inconspicuously,
I realize that investing your trust in
and
someone else can be difficult.
it's easy to
but the
miss.
fact is
Very
that the
easy to
story
miss.
has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
And he actually gives us a choice, basically. He lets us choose whether we will actually pick up the phone, or we will ignore it. Of course, we can ignore it, but it will keep ringing and nothing will happen, and we will be stuck here forever. So we can pick it up. We can't walk out, not in a million years. But we've seen the limited interactions we can have with the world. However, if we think outside the box, and this is probably the most think outside the box thing ever, we can come back here and unplug it.
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one...
Wait, and he doesn't expect us, at all. The narrator doesn't expect us to take this choice. It doesn't seem like a choice at all. In any other game, this wouldn't have been a choice. Basically, they have a narrative for you. They have a path for you. This wouldn't have been an interaction, right? But here it is presented as a choice, and we will see the result of it right here.
Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you
That wasn't supposed to be a choice. Again, in any other game, it wouldn't
do
be.
that? You actually chose incorrectly.
Chose incorrectly. So, and why does he say that? Well, he gave us a choice. Either we pick up the phone or we don't. There was no choice to destroy the connection, right?
I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
And again, papers rustling. He's actually consulting
It's
something
definitely here, clear as day. Stanley
that's
picks up the
outside of
phone.
his.
He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these
Not picking up the phone. He says not picking up the phone. So suddenly he assumes that unplugging the phone is the same as not picking it up. I don't know whether I agree with the way this line is actually written. Again, like, but it does highlight an interesting thing, and that is that he thinks the choice is actually the one with the only result. Like, again, picking up the phone with no alternatives is not a choice at all, right?
decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second.
And he calls it a meaningful choice.
No, that's not possible. I can't believe
He calls it a meaningful choice. And so, yeah, I thank you for the recommendation, actually putting this one of the last ones. Because what are meaningful choices, right? That is at the heart of this video game. Which one of these choices are actually meaningful, which one are not? And he calls this choice a meaningful choice, even though we very clearly and deliberately diverged from the golden path. But it helps us explore something which we wouldn't have the opportunity to do any other time.
How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
And there it is, the bombshell.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect...
For most of the game, he treats Stanley, as an in-game character. He makes allusions to real characters. The real person playing the game a couple of times, but for the most part, he plays a counterpart to Stanley, not to the player.
correct choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
And yeah, this is more of a comedy, but
Choice.
there
It's the
are...
best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario,
This is very
a
comedic,
hypothetical
but,
real person named
it
Stephen has a choice.
highlights
He could spend
true-
years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan.
Can I pause it, actually? Yeah. True. Oh,
living in a
it actually
30-kilometer radius of his
This
house.
cannot be
Which
paused.
choice would you make? Remember that
Sorry.
unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm
My goodness, is it 4:30? Is it?
Excellent.
Oh,
Making
we
choices on
actually
a
didn't.
regular basis is the best part
We
to a
paused the
healthy
audio, but not the
decision-making
video.
process.
That's interesting.
Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day.
This is my
Do you
favorite
make
line.
more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
So yeah, he strips us of our ability to jump off this platform by introducing this fence, which you can actually escape out of apparently, but the game doesn't account for that. So we might break the game. We might break the ending here. No, we didn't, of course.
We can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine
Thank you.
the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all.
And
We
yet,
just need to get you home as soon as possible before the...
yet, is that really true for a video game that you can restart over and over and over? That is one of the interesting questions about this video game, because you can do it in any video game, but other video games tell you that dying is pointless. This one, however, gives you consequences for all the deaths, and it gives you unique results in each of the deaths you take. So
narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
and yeah, this place is not equipped to deal with reality. It is a video game, first and foremost. We cannot make meaningful choices here, because the more we would try, the more we would find only ways to break the game, right? Every time we try to make something that the game dev doesn't account for, we risk running into, an unfinished room. We risk running into a place where there is no content and there is no progression, by the way. And this is what the game tries to highlight, and it does these fake unfinished... What the hell was that rumbling? That wasn't in game. So the game gives us these fakes.
Take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So what do we do? Any suggestions? Is there anyone in chat, actually? I know Eternal probably left again and will be back in about 40 minutes. But if there's anyone watching, now that you've seen the instructional video, now that you've maybe seen our little summary of all the endings that this game has to offer, how would you behave? What makes sense? What is a meaningful choice? What is an enriching choice? What shall we choose? Is there anyone, actually? It's possible that there's not. I mean, there are some viewers I in my counter, but I never know how to read that counter. That counter is always weird. So yeah, if nobody will write in chat, it's fine. I will choose for myself. But there is one interesting aspect about this ending as well, when it comes to this choice, this fundamental choice, by the way. This is the first choice that you come across, basically, if you don't count the non-obvious ones. And I've said that in the beginning of the stream already, but yeah. Hey, thank you, Exotic Butters. Okay, we have a choice. We would follow the path that Stanley would. Okay, we will go to the left and obey the narrator, just to not break the game any further. Let's see if he pats us on the head and he's happy with it.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh, the broom closet. Oh no, it's closed. But yeah, one thing that you will notice about this ending then, the broom closet would normally be able to, we would normally be able to go into, right? And also here,
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
the stairs would let us go down, but not anymore. We already decided that we will play by the rules and that we will climb the stairs up. So the game does not give us any more options, any more choices to fool around. We cannot go into the executive bathroom. We cannot go explore this room. It's all locked. But what changes is the boss's room. This is not what it looks like usually. It's very different. It's noticeably different. Different wallpaper, different layout.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this
And the keypad is replaced by a voice receiver.
door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week.
And contradicting, and it's been a while since we actually had that interaction in the boss's office, because we basically broke it forever in this instance of the game. But contrary to the original narrative, where Stanley didn't know the password, but we as players did know the password, this is actually where Stanley knows the password. Stanley, as the character in game, has learned it through some previous story.
Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
And of course, we have no option to speak. There's no button we can press. There's nothing, we cannot type it, right? There's no way to put in this code. And it is a interesting twist when it comes to comparison to the regular game ending, where we are in control of the Stanley. The narrator potentially doesn't know it. He is dealing with Stanley the whole time. But he tells the information not to Stanley, but to the player, right? Unknowing that the player listens, basically. This is the very opposite situation, where the narrator informs us that Stanley knows the code, but he also knows that Stanley is not in charge, he's not in control, the player is, but doesn't know necessarily that the player does not know how to make Stanley say anything. So yeah, whatever I do, I cannot actually input the code.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
And yeah, I tried speaking it into the
Okay,
microphone, by the
fine.
way.
You're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far.
Yeah,
only
bring
for
you
to
this
suddenly
far.
decide you have better things to do.
Decide.
I asked you for
Decide.
this one
Again.
single thing for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
And then we're faced with a reset.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So yeah, we're back here after the lecture, after the presentation, and as we can see, our meaningful choice that I back chat for was meaningless again. This ending presumes that we will go through both of the doors. It doesn't basically matter which order we go through, but we have to explore both endings or reset the game ourselves, right? So we will go through the right door and disobey the narrator again.
Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
But yes, we are too late. Oh no, we broke
It's
it.
ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
So there it is, and we are left in the broken state, and
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a
Of
whole
course we didn't.
underground facility. You would have destroyed it
Well,
and
we've seen
been
it, but-
victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard.
and then again we are faced with a reset, but this time it's somehow, and this is left a little bit to the interpretation, but we are removed from Stanley. We are the player, we have agency, but we are outside of the constructed world. And here we see why the narrator and Stanley need each other, but Stanley also needs the player.
Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
And yeah, we come to a fairly sad ending. An interesting ending, and it seems like one of the final endings, like genuinely final, but there is a little bit of a question whether it is a final ending or not, because of course the credit rolls, which so rarely happens in this game, after any ending, mostly it just unceremoniously plops up back into this office. But again, this also plops up, just gets us back into the initial office, and we're free to continue through the game as we see fit. So it is one of the bigger mindfucks, very complex, very humorous at times as well, and kind of sad at the very end. I will be honest. Even though it's a complete deconstruction of the choice, right? Because we can behave like Stanley, follow the game's narrative, and ultimately accomplish nothing, because we are very limited in what we can do inside the gaming space. Or we can disobey, we can exercise our free will as a human person, but find out that the game needs these limits to get us through some meaningful path. So yeah, it is a seeming dynamic between meaningful choices and meaningful narratives, which may or may not align, and sometimes they actually contradict each other. Sometimes you just cannot make meaningful narratives without stripping the player of his choice, and sometimes you cannot let the player choose and deliver a meaningful narrative. So that is basically what this ending revolves around, and it is a quite effective ending, I would say. And it all starts with a very non-obvious choice, and it is kind of hidden. Indeed. What is not hidden is the last ending
Stanley
ever.
had never seen the office this brightly lit.
Or
Was it
the
a
last
sign of
ending I
something?
wanted to do.
He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So we will go through the left door again, follow the golden path, and this time every single
Yet there was not a single
command
person here
or
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
description.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find it. Coming to a staircase, Stanley
sorry,
walked
I cut
upstairs
him
to
off
his
early.
boss's office.
So yeah, we walk through here,
Here's the door, just go.
and usually we would actually use this keypad. That's what I showed multiple times in the beginning of the stream, in the very morning, or actually it was the night. But because we did some let's say, unexpected activity here. We've actually skipped this part of the game altogether. So it lets us go through. I think the webcam is basically useless at this point. Like, there's nothing to be seen in my face. I don't know what to do. Should I turn the lights on a little brighter? Is this a little better? Okay, I'll just blow it up then.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
So yeah, we have two choices, and I've been avoiding escape for the longest time. We've been there twice, but we've basically breezed through. I genuinely want to save it for last. I don't want to say it's my favorite ending, but I think it's the most fitting to actually end this stream on. I'm not saying it is the most fitting to end the game on every time, but this one is an interesting ending, to be sure. And I've actually highlighted it earlier, but let's say this VOD is basically the summary of most of the endings.
Packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
And yeah, we can actually find our office here quite easily. We remember our number, right? 3. Oh, was it 327? I think. Do we actually remember our number? I don't. God damn it. 327 right there. We'll confirm it. No, that's not it. 237 is it? 237. Is that our office? It doesn't seem so. I don't know. I don't actually remember the number. It's actually 427, isn't it? 427, 42, 42. Fuck. There we go. Employee 427. Yeah, that's it. And that is our office. 427. Man named Stanley.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
And again, an interesting tidbit. Of course, off on the left, the right path, on the right, the wrong path. Or intended, unintended, I would actually say. And we come here to the quote-unquote freedom ending, which I've talked at length about,
and a rising chill
how
of uncertainty.
there was nothing free about our decisions. Nothing free but our freedom to actually select what they told us to.
He had defeated the machine.
And he had
Unshackled
won.
himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments
This is a
away.
victory, actually.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
And again, I spoke
As
about
sunlight
how
streamed into the chamber, he
two,
realized
at least 2 out of 3
it
of
was
these
not
questions
knowledge
cannot
of
be
the
answered
path
even
that
if we
he
go
had
back.
been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
And yeah, this is the golden path. This is what the game intends us to do, basically. And I will point out once again, it is actually the shortest path.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
And yet, it is basically no ending at all. We are back to where we were before. Quite fittingly, though, with the hallway that leads us directly to the crucial choice of this game. The door on the left or the door on the right. So, I will take a short break just to figure out how we're gonna do the ending, because we have some hour and 15 minutes left before our intended goal of finishing this game on the commitment achievement, i.e. play this game for 24 hours on a Tuesday, the entire Tuesday, and see if the achievement actually pops, which I fucking hope it will. Holy shit. Because we fucked up one thing already, and potentially 2, and potentially 3, and potentially more. I don't know. I've had a really weird, shitty day. So I will take a little break before we go on to decide whether we're gonna go through with the final choice, or whether we're actually gonna do something more in this game. I think the museum is a very rich environment. We can spend a little time there. There's things to look at, so I guess we can spend our time over there. I don't know if we actually want to compile a tier list. That might be fun actually, but it would probably mean I would alt-tab out of the game, and that is not necessarily what I want to do. I probably want to spend the last hours in game, but what I will do certainly, because this footage is again closing in on 4 hours. Well, it's 3 hours and 20 minutes right now, so it wouldn't be as long, but I will split the last part off, I guess, just because it will be quite neat to have all the endings in one video file, and the ending and the grand finale as the last part. So I will turn the stream off for the last time for, I don't know, 2 minutes, stretch my legs, refill my water glass, don't know, just take a little break, and we will be back for the achievement and the finish of this incredibly ambitious streaming project. So yeah,